You know, there's a number of things I think any good leader really has to do. You know, first, you have to have integrity. You know, you have to be ethical. You can't, you know, your reputation is really just something that's too precious to squander by, you know, doing something foolish. And I think that we see in this day and age of you know, social media and everything just happens so fast that, you know, it really even what might seem like a minor misstep can get blown out of proportion. And so I think you have to be careful all the time. You have to always act with integrity. That's the most important thing. You know, all the people that I've named had an ability to recognize talent. And you know, you have to be able to, and I mean, and talent comes in different forms, you know. There's some people that you would ruin them if you made them manage people. They don't have any interest in it, and it wouldn't be their strength, you know. But if you give them this thing to do, they'll do it exceptionally well, and they'll be happy doing that forever. And then there's other people that they're not really detail-oriented people, but they're great leaders. You need to be able to recognize the talent people bring, but not in a stagnant way. I think that you have to be a good listener. And if you want to give people opportunity, if you want to get the best ideas out of everyone, you know, if you're the senior person in your organization, you can't walk into every meeting and say, this is what I think we should do. So a good leader can find a way, even if they probably know more than the people in the room, to draw out what they, you know, their thoughts and their ideas. And, you know, because someday you're not going to be there, and they're going to have to be thinking about these things and how to make it happen. So I think a good leader is somebody that can, you know, not just communicate well, but listen well. One of the big issues we have is that out of short-term necessity, whether it's some kind of financial crisis or whatever, we make decisions that really have an adverse effect on the long-term success of the company. And it's a very hard thing to resist. And I could give you lots of examples of, you know, how we had to take, because we thought we had to do, you know, because of this crisis, we had to do this, and it adversely affected whether it was our ability to have, you know, we had to lay off a whole bunch of staff, so all of a sudden now we don't have qualified engineers to do things. But I think that if we had, and maybe we didn't have the time from a regulatory standpoint, but I just think that we could have done a better job of trying to find a solution to what we were trying to solve that didn't involve wasting so much capital. So there's a study that I read because of these other panels. It just came out, and I think it's interesting. It's worth looking up recently, but it's LinkedIn. .org and McKinsey, a joint study that they did. And they started this in 2015. They have done it every year since. And the statistics really haven't changed that much in 4 years. So, you know, the headline from Sheryl Sandberg was, you know, we really have made no progress. But here's the basic study. At the entry level, just hiring people into the workforce, 48% are women, 52% are men. By the time you get to manager level, 38% are women and the balance are men. But you get to the vice president level and it's 29% women. And then you get to the C-suite and it's 22% women. So what's happened? You know, some people might say, well, women are leaving the workforce. Actually, the statistics showed they were they were changing jobs equally with men, and 80+% of both groups were changing jobs to stay in the workforce. So that's not the explanation. What seems to be the explanation is that women at entry levels and at manager levels are not getting promoted as quickly as men. And they quoted the research that men generally are promoted for their potential and women for what they've proven that they've done. And that might be a generalization, but I think it's worth thinking about. Why does that happen? Why does it happen? Now, I understand the steel industry, and in particularly on the operational and the technical side, it's a tough place. It's a tough place for men. I think that all we can do as managers is to make sure that we try to promote women equally. When we have openings, we look to move both women and men forward and not exclude women. Look for an opportunity to include women. And the other thing that the study talked about, and this is something that you as managers can all do, that you can give women maybe the same kind of support that you give men. That's in, helping them get through whatever resources they might need. There's not a lot of difference in that statistic in this study, by the way, between men and women. But there is a lot of difference on managers helping women navigate the political environment in their company. There's differences in getting opportunities to be able to present yourself within, to a group like this, or to meet executives in your company, something, to have exposure. You can talk about what the women in your organization have accomplished to other people in other organizations to, get them to know about them. That's actually what happened to me. That is what guys like Bill Llewellyn and Bruce Thomas did for me. So I just say, I think there's something all of you can do if you have a woman working in your organization, just find a way to support her.